Hello and welcome to another edition of AttractWell Office Hours. I'm Coach Ashley, joined today by founder of AttractWell, Greg Kilwine. Hey, Greg.
Hey everyone, glad you're here today.
We're excited to have you here today. Where we're going to talk about how to host monthly live workshops. So we're going to talk about how you can set this up as a great lead generating offer, a fantastic way for you to engage with your audience, and of course, a great opportunity for you to sell whatever it is that you've got. Having these live opportunities for people to interact with you, to get a little bit more depth of what you offer is such a great launch pad into you actually making the pitch for what you sell. So we're going to get into the mechanics of all of this today, show you how to set yours up in AttractWell, whether you have something that is more or less the same every time you do it, or if you have sort of a rotating topic. We're going to get into all of that here today. Now, Greg and I are going to get out of video and into these slides that I have prepared for you. While I'm doing that, head over into the chat, say hello, let us know where you're coming in from. Always so awesome to meet the folks who join these great calls. We do offer these every Thursday at 2 p.m. US Eastern Time, save for most holidays. We look forward to working with you here on calls just like this one. These are totally free for you if you're looking for ways to work smarter in your business. And of course, if you're interested in doing that with AttractWell. So today we're going to get into hosting live monthly workshops that attract leads and sell your offer. So today we're going to get into why monthly workshops are great for you to use in your business to help you build trust and attract leads. We're going to talk about two simple ways to run your monthly workshop in AttractWell. You need no other software, by the way. AttractWell has everything that you need to do all of this, and we've got a checklist for you. We'll talk about how you can get into registration, reminders, follow-ups without starting from scratch each time you host your workshop, and get into some quarterly planning. How can we stay consistent with this system without overthinking? We want this to be something that we can show up for, that does what we need it to do for our business without it becoming a large piece of labor in how we work. And then, as always, we'll get into live Q&A and support. These are, after all, live working calls. It's an opportunity for you to learn something like we'll be doing here today, but also a great opportunity to get hands-on if you are looking for help and support. So if you are here with questions, you can go ahead and add those to the Q&A. You've got me here to help you, and you have Greg, who created this system, and the guy who's responsible for all of the incredible updates to it that you might have been seeing recently. We're here to help you. Go ahead and add those questions to the Q&A here live on the call. And if you're watching this as a replay, come join us on an upcoming live call. Like I mentioned, we're live every Thursday at 2 p.m. US Eastern Time. We'll let you know ahead of time if we won't be here. And you've got an opportunity on these calls to connect with others, to learn, and of course, learn how to use AttractWell, which you can get started with today if you haven't yet. We have a 7-day free trial. We also have $1 for your first month. We've got several options there. And guys, I don't think that you're going to find anything that really competes with the volume of features that you see here, the price point that they're at, and of course, the support that this incredible team offers. So we are thrilled to have you here. And of course, if you aren't with us yet, we'd be thrilled for you to come join us. And if you'd like to work together, these live calls, I actually set aside the second half of them as an opportunity for us to go in depth and work together. So you can actually schedule time with us on these calls. In the second half of these hours that we offer on Thursday, we can get into your website, we can get into strategy, setting things up in your system, and more. So you can go to attractwell.com/work review to sign up for a free slot on the second half of an upcoming Thursday call. If you'd like to hand off your projects to our team, we've got you covered there as well. You can learn more at attractwell.com/concierge. All right, so let's get into this. Why monthly workshops? This is a really important feature of a lot of businesses, in particular, if you are selling something that really requires a little bit of human touch. That's going to be things that are maybe highly personalized, like coaching, but also higher ticket offers where somebody really needs to feel a greater connection and trust with you before putting payment down. So why these work is first that trust is what is built when they are spending that time with you. You don't have to be in person for this to work well. I am going to be talking about how you host these in a virtual setting, but you could really apply a lot of these systems if you are offering workshops or something like this in a local setting as well. So they help you build trust, show your expertise in real time. They give your leads a clear next step to engage with you. This is something that feels very logical, but it also doesn't necessarily carry the pressure of getting onto a one-on-one consult. And it's also a leveraged way to be able to provide this. So if you are somebody that doesn't really feel like you have the time to do one-on-one consults, this is a fantastic way to sort of skip the strategy session, discovery call path and actually take people straight to live opportunities that where they can engage with you at scale. You also have a way here to stay visible and relevant without needing to post on a consistent basis. You aren't really having to deal with a churn quite as much because you're putting something high value out there that you can be promoting in a natural way on an ongoing basis. And here we are creating momentum with a repeatable system. This is not something that takes a great deal of time to set up, and truly not something once you have it set up that you have to really spend a lot more time on to keep it going and keep it working. So the first thing that we have to do is to choose the style of workshop that we are going to employ. So there's basically two ways that you can run your monthly workshop. The first is to have a recurring topic or a recurring format or theme, right? Where we are more or less offering the same call each month. This would be for you if you have an audience that you are engaging toward a very specific offer. You're generally going to have more or less the same workshop that you offer over and over again, right? Because if somebody is a fit for that, they're going to be a fit for the thing that you're selling, and you work the pitch for what you're selling into the workshop, right? It's not something that people need to come back to month over month or week after week, right? So for instance, our calls here with AttractWell, we have a different topic every week, right? And thus we are having to kind of change things up quite a bit. And it is really helpful for people to be coming back every time I offer one. This would be the opposite, right? So in this particular instance, for a recurring topic, you're really only going to expect a lead to attend one of these. And they're going to be able to decide after they've attended this whether or not they're a fit to move forward, right? So that's our first option, is to just have the same thing that you do every month and it doesn't change, right? You can also use this as more of a lead nurturing content, right? This is more of a content perspective where we're going to have a new topic or workshop or training every time. You might use the same format, but the subject matter might be slightly different. This might be tailored a bit more to a particular interest. Maybe you're using different angles of the problem that you solve to present the offer that you have to different audiences. Now, let's go through option one first. This is obviously just a little bit simpler to work with because you aren't having to really change much in terms of the content that you're offering. So what we'll need here is a landing page, right? We'll also need a tag that we'll use for people who register for this workshop, right? So this could be the name of the workshop, could be the tag, or the name of the workshop and the word lead, because these are leads for an offer in your business. And then we want to have a campaign. And that's a single message day zero campaign that confirms that they are signed up for the workshop. And then we're going to create event listings for each date, but we're going to disable self-registration for this. And I'll show you what that looks like here in just a moment. And by the way, we do have a full checklist for you if you want to kind of reference this and go through and create this yourself. What we're going to do is actually create an event in AttractWell for this workshop. And instead of having them register or RSVP on the event, we're actually going to send them over to this landing page where they're going to put in their name, put in their email, any other information that you require. And this is where that campaign will be applied, as well as the tag, right? And then you'll be able to filter for those contacts, to schedule any reminder and follow-up emails using saved replies. That's a really convenient feature in AttractWell that allows you to write a message once and use it over and over again. And then you'll be able to filter those contacts for the tag on your landing page, of course, to send out and schedule those messages. And then we're going to use this same Zoom link for just every single instance of this, just to save ourselves a ton of time. Now, I did just walk through that here on this slide. This is also where you can go to kind of see this as a checklist. If you want to go through the whole process here, I'm actually talking about the saved replies that you ought to create, right? And I am showing you what to do in order here. So let's actually use this checklist and just kind of run through what we need to do. So what I'm going to do here is go over to my Zoom meetings. Yes, actually, Justin, the checklist is available to download. I did send that out here in the reminder to join us here today. I believe Greg might have a link that he can pop into the chat as well. And I will have this on the blog post and linked in the description on YouTube for the replay. So I'm going to offer a monthly workshop, and it's going to be the same workshop every month. And this is 3 ways to master your marketing. That's my workshop. I'm offering this every month. It's a recurring meeting. And I'm going to mute participants on entry because for big group calls, I prefer to not have any errant sounds. And of course, a lot of people don't pay attention necessarily where they join a Zoom. I'm going to also not necessarily automatically start video for the participants. They can choose to show their faces, or you could keep this checked. I'm just talking about my own personal preferences. I actually just kind of like to do this and then I'll join in just in case there's anything weird going on. I don't like just jumping straight into video. All right, I'm going to enable a waiting room in my case. You again certainly don't have to. I am also, because I'm going to edit this and use it later, I'm actually going to auto record it to my computer and I am going to create the meeting. So that's our first step. We can check this one off. I've got a recurring Zoom meeting for all of my workshops, and then I can create saved replies for my regular emails. The first will be an invitation. This is the workshop here, what we're going to do this week or this month. And then I've got a reminder for tomorrow, we're going to have the workshop. And then maybe I'll do another where we're going to be live at a particular time. Now, if you are signed up, as of course, all of you who are on this call you see a version of this every week with AttractWell. When I send an invitation to the call with the topic for the week, you see that, and it is actually a saved reply. When I send a reminder that we're about to go live, when I send a replay, all of these are saved replies in AttractWell. Now, you can find saved replies under your content library. Click saved replies right here. Oh, and by the way, let me go ahead and copy link right here before I move forward, because I need to use that to create these saved replies. So the first one here is going to be invitation to 3 ways to master your marketing. And here I will have a subject line and I'll have the body of the email. So this is going to be, again, just something super straightforward. I'm going to send this to my list. And I'm going to maybe specify this here so that I know that in the future. So this is going to be send to list to promote call, right? And here we'll say busy this Thursday. Come master your marketing with us. How about that? And here's where I would put the copy. I will talk about what they get out of the call, etc. And then I would offer registration. And I need to come back and insert an automation here to RSVP or share landing page URL, right? So I'm going to come back and actually edit this later. So that's my first saved reply. That's this one here. There's my invitation. Then I'm going to have a reminder. So I'll create another one. This is a reminder. And this is 3 ways to master your marketing is live tomorrow. And this is send to registrants. And here I'll do this again. Reminder, live tomorrow. 3 ways to master your marketing. And here I will reiterate time, reiterate topic, share landing page URL, and give a call to action to share with friends or colleagues because it's free, right? And then see you tomorrow. Obviously, these are prompts that I'm putting in here. You would want to put real copy here. I'm just showing you for time. All right, so that is our second one. Reminder, the workshop is tomorrow. And then we have a reminder, we're live in an hour, right? So reminder, live in an hour. 3 ways to master your marketing. And here we'll say, click here to join at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Join the call. I'm going to hyperlink this, paste that Zoom link in that I copied previously, insert, and let me just go ahead and change that into a button. Perfect. All right, obviously, again, I would put some more copy here, and I would give a subject line, right? So here we've shared the Zoom link here in this saved reply. All right, so that's that one as well. If you are offering a replay or a recap, you can create a saved reply for that as well. Of course, you would, depending on where you're going to be hosting that video and what you want to do with this, this could vary pretty widely based on your use case, but that is another saved reply that you could create. Next thing we want to do is to create a one message confirmation campaign that's going to set expectations for this call, tell them to add you to their address book, and to add the series to your calendar if this is something that you are wanting to maybe have people come back to over and over again. You can use this service right here and actually create a downloadable file that people can click to be able to join your calls straight from their calendar. All right, so this one page or this one message campaign, I'm going to go up here under contacts. I'm going to go to campaigns. I'll create a new one. And this is confirmation, 3 ways to master your marketing. There we go. I'm good to go with that. I can create the campaign. And I'll add a message here. So I'll say you're in and 3 ways to master your marketing. And here I will reiterate time, reiterate topic, give a call to action, add me to your address book, etc. Right? Maybe offer some kind of opportunity for them to engage, hit reply, join your group, set expectations for the call, etc. This is going to go out as soon as possible. So this is immediate. And I'm going to go ahead and save this. Again, of course, you're going to have a bit more copy than I do, but that is this step here. The next thing we can do is create a confirmation page or reuse a generic one if you have one. Now for confirmation pages, we do have some templates, but I recommend going crazy simple here. I'm going to start with a blank page and show you exactly what I like to do. I'm going to start from a blank page and add a section here that's 2-column with a photo on the right. I would swap this photo out for a logo of maybe the series that you are offering, right? So what you see when you sign up for AttractWell office hours, I think I actually have a fun like Seinfeld GIF or something with people jumping up and down and saying, "Yay, you did it!" You could do something like that here as well. But you're going to want to swap out this image, and here you would be reiterating some of what they're going to see in that email, right? But we're going to say, "You're in. Check your email now," right? And then say whatever else you want to say here, add my email address to your address book, etc. Say all of that here, but make sure that you are confirming that they're signed up, right? And in this case, you would want to specify these calls are at X time on X dates, right? So these are Thursdays at 2. Look for an email from us, right? That's what you're going to put here. This is our confirmation page. So let's go ahead and give it that name. So confirmation, and that is 3 ways to master your marketing. All right. This is by link only because it's a confirmation page. We don't want Google to find this. We don't really need a header or a footer because again, all we need is this message that's on the page, right? You can preview it real quick here. And if it's on mobile, the reason why I like having this on the right is that it would stack underneath because I don't necessarily want the image on the top. You can obviously go the opposite way. Don't take that as gospel. So yeah, we got a confirmation page, real simple here. That is done. then we can create our landing page and our event. And we are almost done with this funnel that you get to use over and over and over again for the workshop that you offer every week or every month. So if we go over to website and blog and go to landing pages, I will create a new landing page. I like the simple short form one here is a good one if what you're offering is pretty straightforward and you've provided a bit more information before someone arrives here. If you would like to have a bit more copy that's really selling the workshop that you're offering weekly, I also like these simple 2 and 3 part forms where you've got a little bit more to work with in terms of copy, really selling the thing that you are, well, I mean, you're not actually selling it, it's free, right? But I do like these for this purpose. Note that if you prefer, you could absolutely use the pages feature to do this as well. But I'm going to keep this really simple and just use the landing page. So this is 3 steps to master your marketing. This is every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Enter your info below to save your seat, right? And here we go. We can put the logo here, ideally the same one that you are using on that confirmation page that we just created. We will go over here to settings. This is 3 ways to master your marketing. I'm going to keep that simple and straightforward there. This is 3 also. We want to tag our people. 3 ways to master your marketing. The campaign we'll use. We're going to find that same one that we just created, 3 ways to master your marketing. Great. So we want to get that all set up. It's named. We're going to send them to that confirmation page. There it is. And I don't need their phone number, so I'm just going to not show phone. And of course, again, I can modify this here. I'm just going to go ahead and save it and view it. Great. This part down here, this is under my story and photo. And you can choose whether or not this shows up on your landing pages or not by coming right over here to my story and photo and checking or unchecking these things right here if you want to show your story. I find this to be a really useful feature for landing pages because if someone is maybe not as familiar with you, where they're being offered something before they give their email and their name and all of that kind of stuff, it may be helpful to have just a little bit more about you to help establish more of that trust to help them convert. Okay, so that's our landing page. Landing page is set up, and then the final thing that we get to do here is to go over to the AttractWell Events Manager and create a unique event for each occurrence. So I would recommend doing this in bulk, a month in advance. And here's what this is going to look like. I'm going to do this every Thursday at 4. So let me go over to meetings, or sorry, to events, which is, and this is optional, by the way. I think that this is a really great feature that a lot of us sleep on. It's built into your AttractWell site. It's similar to using Eventbrite or the events feature on Facebook, except you get to control all of the lead capture, right? This is a lead magnet, essentially, that you're offering, and a very, very high value one that you can also use for sales. So here is 3 ways to master your marketing. And again, you're going to want more copy here. Feel free to use Write with AI. And here, this is going to be, I'll start these. I'm going to start in July. These are going to be Thursdays at 4 o'clock. I'm going to do this a couple months in advance. Here we go. That's 4 p.m. Thursday. And it's going to end at 5 p.m. I don't have a maximum number of attendees. I would want to put an image on here. And what I'm going to do under more event options is I'm going to uncheck allow self-registration, and I'm going to send them over to that landing page. All right, and that's this one right here that we just created. Pop that in right there. And I want to show this on the event list page and by direct link. So I want this to show up on my website. So all of the things that are going to happen after somebody registers is not like, we're basically just going to be using this event to create a listing on your website. So if somebody wants to sign up for, the next one, you can actually have them do that here. This is particularly useful if you're going to have a unique workshop each time. to be able to list out each one of these. But if you want to allow them to register for specific occurrences, you can do that here as well. So this is where we put copy Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Enter or click the button below to register, right? So I'm going to click add event. And then I would just go and repeat, right? So let me go over here. I'm going to copy this, in fact, because I'm going to be doing this over and over again. So I'm going to hit copy because all of the details are more or less going to, oh, sorry, that's not what I meant. That's copying the link to share. Let me go back over to event setup. And you can actually duplicate. So here's 3 ways to master your marketing. That's what I wanted to do. I'm also going to call this 3 ways to master your marketing. And I'm going to edit this and just change the date. And I would just repeat this for the entire month or for a quarter. And so that way you have a recurring event. It is more or less the same event, the same title, the same features every time that you do it. Or I'm showing this weekly. You could do this, once a month as well. Right? So that's what that looks like. So you duplicate it to make it faster. And just remember that we are sending to the landing page. So if we take a look at this, in fact, if we go here and we go to view, we can see this would have an image on the side if I put it there. But when I click learn more, it's actually going to take us over here to register, right? And so now this is going to show up on our upcoming events list. You'll see I've got one on the 3rd, I've got one on the 10th, and people would be able to register for the one that they choose, right? And so I do have here in the checklist what it looks like to maintain this. You're going to be promoting that event URL or the landing page if you chose to not use the events feature, and then filter your contacts for registrants and then schedule those emails in advance using saved replies. Right? So if you are going to be sending out a reminder, send it for this month. If you're doing this once a month, send it for this month, schedule it for this month on the correct date and time, the following month, and so on. So just go ahead and handle a whole quarter's worth if you're doing this monthly, for instance. So do the next 3 months, and then you don't have to think about it again. You just have to show up, right? And you go live with the Zoom as scheduled. Now, if you don't want someone to attend or to receive these messages after they have attended this workshop, then what you would do is in AttractWell, you would go to your contacts and you would filter for that tag, maybe after. So in this case, after the 10th. And I've run this call and I've sent out the replay maybe the following day on the 11th. I'm going to filter for everyone with that tag, and I'm going to remove that tag from those contacts and maybe add a different one, right? So now they're on a post-event sort of follow-up plan or something like that, but I would remove that tag because the tag that we've applied to them on the landing page is what's going to have them continually receiving those invitations, which if this is the same thing every month, you might not want that, right? Now, the unique monthly workshop, let's go over that here real quick. I don't want to necessarily walk through everything because it might be a bit redundant and I want to be able to answer questions here and have time for that. But let's talk about the second option. So if you have unique monthly workshops, you would want to create a new date-based campaign for each topic, right? And then send your confirmations, reminders, access links, and follow-ups. And you would be using a campaign for this. And you could also, like I mentioned, use a generic confirmation page for all of your events. So instead of having, if you're doing an event one month that's about hormonal wellness and another month you're talking about, stabilizing energy levels with food, your confirmation page doesn't need to be unique to each of those. You can just create one that's, thank you for registering for the workshop, right? And just use that confirmation page for all of them. You would use the events manager to create a listing for each workshop, very similar to what I just showed you, except of course the titles will be different. Those will correlate with the day that they're being offered and so on. And you do have the option here to collect RSVPs using the events manager, or you could use a landing page like I showed you for the recurring monthly workshop. And of course, save time with templates using those saved replies. Use a recurring Zoom link. That's going to save you a headache as well. You'll always know which link to open to start your call, and you don't have to go in and edit and change the Zoom link every time you have a workshop. You can duplicate the past landing pages and campaigns. So if you set this system up once and you're talking about hormonal wellness in March, then you can duplicate that campaign utilize a lot of the same links, but change some of the copy up to reflect the title, right? Just make a couple of tweaks, but structurally, it would still be more or less the same thing, right? And then you would create saved replies for that reminder and those follow-up emails. And as always, do make sure that you are using naming conventions to stay organized. As you saw with that first example, 3 ways to master your marketing, everything that I created had that title in it. And so that means that I can go into AttractWell and search 3 ways to master your marketing and find exactly what I need. Now, I do want to make sure that we're super clear on what it would look like to set this up in AttractWell in particular, where we're talking about creating a so I've shown you how to create a recurring Zoom link, but this thing, create a date-based campaign for each workshop. So what I'm going to do here is actually show you how to go through that, because the campaign piece here is different. So we're not just sending a day 0, hey, you're in, you're confirmed. We're actually going to incorporate our reminders with this as well. So this is a slightly different approach. You could also just follow the same system that I showed you with the recurring, but you would schedule those. You would schedule just like I showed you before using the saved replies. I'm a big fan of using campaigns for this purpose, though, especially if the class or the workshop is a unique one. So this is going to be Women's Wellness Month, balancing hormones naturally. I'm just gonna, I'm gonna keep this simpler, but balancing hormones naturally. All right. So this is my workshop, balancing hormones naturally. Love it. Okay. So here's my campaign. Oops. Sorry about that. Here we go. I'm gonna go create the campaign. I will create a day 0 message just like I did before that is confirming that they're registered. So your seat is saved. I'm going to use the title. And here I'm going to reiterate title, reiterate date. I'm going to use my CTA. That's going to be to hit reply, save this with a friend, etc. Add me to your address book, all of that kind of stuff, just like we would have done in the other example on day 0. So that's our first one. But then we want to go, and I've got this on the list here. So we want a confirmation on day 0, but we also need perhaps a, hey, our workshop is tomorrow, and a, hey, we're live at XYZ time, right? So that's where we would go in and create our messages. The first one will be reminder, our workshop is tomorrow, right? And again, we're going to reiterate details. We don't need to share the Zoom link here because they don't need to click it a day before. They need to click it an hour before, right? And again, you're going to have more copy in here than I'm showing you, but I just want to make sure that we can get through this so that you can see where all of this goes. We're going to do a day of, and here this is going to be, we're live in an hour. Right, and here's where I'll put the Zoom link. Click here to join the call. And I'll just come right back over here to our Zoom meetings. I'm just going to open that in a new tab so I can grab this. And here's my, we'll just assume that this is the one that I created. I'm going to click Get Link. And I'll hyperlink this. Paste that. And I'll turn it into a button. All right, so let's talk about how we go through and turn this into a date-based campaign. So what I'm going to do here is on a specific date. This is when we're going to do this. Now, July the 3rd is going to be the first one that I host. That's the date of the workshop itself. Okay, that means that they need to receive this message on the second day. This needs to be the second day. So I'm going to go right here and select the first. And you can see here that this is going to send on the day of, and this is going to send the day before. I do need to go in as well and choose the time. This one I want to maybe send at the evening before. So here's 5 p.m. Central Time. And here I want to send an hour before we get started. And I'll do that at 3 p.m. Central Time. All right. So I've got that set up the way that I want it. And I'm good to go on the campaign. Now, what we do here next is just like we did before, you can use a landing page. You would then connect, instead of just a campaign with a day zero message, you would use this one, right? You would use this date-based campaign. And for your next workshop that you offer, and let me actually search for this. For the next workshop that you offer, maybe you are going to offer one on balancing blood sugar with foods. And then all I need to do is go into the settings and make sure that I've got the name swapped out. So here, the campaign name needs to be the same here. I'll save that. And then I can just go back into my messages and change what's here, right? I don't have to change the Zoom link because that's going to be the same. But I can go in and just make a few 5 minutes tops and just make a few changes and have a brand new campaign for the one that I'm offering the next month and so on. So you would repeat this process and then just create a unique campaign for each one. And because this is one that I'm going to be offering on, the 10th of July, right? I need to start this on the 8th, right? And so I can just go through and set this up so that I have a unique campaign for each of these. Now, I know if this is a little exhausting, you're not necessarily going to be doing both. It's one or the other. So you are going to follow either the first checklist or the second one, right? So either you're going to be doing the same thing every month and you have very little to change, right? Or you're going to have something unique each month and you're going to sit down, and truthfully, setting something like this up really takes like an hour at most if you're a beginner with AttractWell. Just so you know, if you follow this checklist in order, you're going to be able to set this up as a beginner in an hour for like a 3-month period if you're doing one call per month. Right? So that's my promise to you. If that does not work that way for you, then I personally would invite you, email me, Ashley@attractwell.com, and I will sit with you and help you make sure that this is set up. I know there's very little time that I have to work with here to like kind of show you guys everything. And I am kind of talking at a New York pace. So do know that when you watch the replay, you can hit pause, you can slow this down. And then just make sure that you're following the process here, because I am showing you each step that you need to take. And these are quite similar. The primary difference is that you're going to be creating a unique event for this one, right? Each month it's going to be different. The title will be different, etc. And you'll have a unique campaign for that event. Basically, everything else is more or less the same. You don't have to worry about the saved replies with this one, generally speaking, because you're just going to be copying your campaign. Now, I do want to show you one thing here really quickly, and this is for you if you are scheduling the messages that go out. So for the people who register on your landing page, you're going to go to your contacts and you're going to filter for the people who are, actually, you can go to dashboard to do this. This is probably an easier way to do this. So go to send email, text, or app notification. Send one message, look for the tag. Here's 3 ways to master your marketing, right? That's that one. I'm going to go write email, and then I'm going to find that 3 ways. Here's our reminder. This is tomorrow, right? And all of this populates here for you. And remembering that this is going to be for July, I think I said the 3rd. Yeah, July 3rd at 4 p.m. So I'm going to send that the day before on the 2nd at 5 p.m. and I can schedule this mail to those contacts. And you can actually see here that you don't even need to have anybody on this list to schedule it. Anybody who registers between now and when this is supposed to send, it's going to populate and this message will go to those people, right? I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I can actually go ahead and do that again. And I can do this in bulk for everything. So I'm going to write for those people as well, send them the reminder before we go live. Here it is, live in an hour. It's got that Zoom link and the button there already done. Don't have to think about it. That's going to go out at 3 p.m. because the call is at 4. So I'm going to schedule that. And that's what that looks like, right? It was the last thing that I hadn't showed you guys yet for the recurring workshop, right? That's how you actually filter and schedule those emails out in advance. And then for either of these options, when it's time to go live, all you have to do is come right down here to Zoom and events, go to Zoom meetings, find that recurring link and click start meeting. And from there, you're good to go. I chose the option that will have this call record directly to my device because I actually like to trim the ends a lot of the time of the calls that I do, right? Because, sometimes it's a little wonky in the very beginning and you want to cut off the first end of it. And we don't have native editing capabilities, just like YouTube does it really. So I like to record to the device so that I can trim the video. Then I upload it into AttractWell videos, and then I can get the link out as a replay if that is something that you are planning to do. All right, so we do have some questions here, and if you have a request to maybe come out and discuss, feel free to let me know that that's the case, and we can talk through any of this as well with the time that we have left here. I know this is a lot, but know that that checklist that I gave you really is like the step-by-step, do this, and then do this, and then do this, and by the time you're done with that list, you've got a complete repeatable system that's easy to follow in the long run. So just make sure that you've chosen the type of event that you want. Same thing every month. It's the same topic, same formula. Come and join it, right? That's obviously a very simple path. You could do that one, or you can have the unique recurring events, which is particularly valuable if you're creating these workshops, not just as a means to connect with leads, but as a way to maybe generate some high value long form content, right? Because these videos where you're teaching how to do XYZ thing and then leading into your offer, this can go into a funnel and become the sales video that you use in the future. So, and this is true for any of these things. So do consider saving those videos and using them for other purposes in the future. Dara Lee says, when we send an email sequence for signing up for a webinar, how do we schedule the emails to begin immediately and also have emails send out on specific days, for example, 24 hours before the event and 1 hour before the event? I think you asked that before I got to the date-based campaign. But that's the answer, is to create a campaign. Day 0 is going to go out automatically. And then based on the date you choose for the campaign, your messages will start sending on those other days, right? So if you want to have a day before, you want to have you want to have a 2 hours before, however you want to set that up, you can do that using a date-based campaign. The other option, of course, depending on how you prefer to set this up, is to use a day 0 only, right? So just an ASAP message that goes out, and then you can filter your contacts for those tagged people and use your saved replies to populate those messages. That's what I've done for years. I don't go and create a campaign for, every instance of the live calls that we do, unless, like, usually for me, for campaigns, I am actively marketing something. If I'm using a campaign, typically I'm using broadcast to schedule, but it's really a matter of preference. There's not a right or wrong way where that's concerned. All right, Peggy says, is there a reason why you enable the waiting room? Yes, and it's because sometimes, well, it's been a long time since I've really needed to, and it really kind of depends. If I know that I want this to be for a set group of people who have registered, then I might keep an eye on that. I don't think that it's something that you necessarily have to do all the time, but as someone who has been a personality on the internet, and has run into some strange situations where people get funny and you don't want to deal with riffraff, you sometimes might want to be able to filter that without them showing up and potentially detracting from. It's a very personal thing. I don't think that most people need to do it, but it's also good for you to be able to kind of see the names of the people who are popping on as well. Obviously, this is not going to be manageable for you if you expect to have 50 people on a call every time you do it. If you expect a large attendance, I would probably not worry about a waiting room. But another big reason why I like to use a waiting room is because I'm using a recurring link, right? So if I was using a unique link for every single occurrence, I'd be a lot less concerned about that. But I am using a recurring meeting link, and sometimes I just, want to make sure that the right people are on the call. All right. Randy says, I plan to run a workshop or masterclass regardless of the number of attendees. How can I run it and not show the number of attendees? Aha. So on the live call, because we use Zoom meetings in AttractWell, I don't think that it's possible for you to see the number or for you to block the number of people or the attendee count as someone who is hosting meetings. I'm not sure that that is a capability of Zoom meetings. If it's super duper important to you to keep that hidden, then it would behoove you to just get a separate Zoom webinars license, because webinars absolutely hide that, right? But I think you can really get away with a lot using video, and it doesn't really matter that, if one person showed up or two or zero, you're recording it anyway, and you get to choose what you show in your recordings on Zoom. So the resulting video, nobody's going to know that two people were on it with you or that zero people were on it with you, except for you, right? But yeah, I wouldn't worry a great deal about that. I actually find that that people are more amenable to you and what you have to say, the more relatable you are, right? So if they're on a call and you're worried about not looking like influency enough, like there's so few people there, understand that that is actually a plus to a lot of people. It makes you seem more trustworthy, because people who have an excess of influence, we have kind of an internal tendency to have resistance against, because what's their angle, what's their agenda. We do tend to trust people a little bit more in some of these. It just depends on what you do, but we do tend to have a little bit more trust for people that seem a little more like us. So I wouldn't worry too much about that, but do make sure that you're utilizing the controls of the meeting so that other people aren't speaking and potentially interrupting the recording, their videos are disabled, etc. All right, Tracy says, for campaigns, is it possible to schedule the emails around a date, an event, rather than the way it is currently set up is so many days out? So that's, I mean, you can use the campaign to do that, right? So if you know that the event is on day X, right? Then we're really just doing some very simple math to determine, I want to send something the day before day X or 5 days after day X, right? But if that is not the approach that you prefer, you can always schedule broadcast to a tagged audience and achieve the same thing. It doesn't have to be a campaign. You can always use broadcast for this if you prefer. All right, Angeline says, if it's a recurring Zoom link, what prevents people from accessing the link from someone who had attended and bypassing the funnel? So this is a risk of using a recurring Zoom link. I don't typically find that people are trying to sort of cheat your system in that way, unless you become a larger and larger influential entity, in which case there are many other layers of sort of gatekeeping that you can put in place. You can have an admin on the call with you who's verifying a list of names, etc. There is a potential for someone abusing a link to a recurring meeting, but the likelihood of that is generally pretty low, especially because it's a meeting, right? And these are meetings where you can speak directly to someone and say, hi, how did you find your way here, right? And people don't generally like being discovered for that kind of behavior. And so I don't typically see it becoming a problem. But if you are really concerned about it, then you absolutely can create as many Zoom links as you like. Just make sure that you're connecting the correct link to the campaign or the saved reply that you're creating. All right. Ashley just answered that question, but now I'm wondering, if you want to schedule a welcome campaign that is evergreen, how is that done? So that's going to be like an initial nurture campaign. And I know you were a part of the client funnel challenge when we ran that live, and that course is still available. The initial nurture campaign is, it's what you send somebody when they sign up for something, and that can include something like this, right? You can have this be your main lead magnet, offering events like this, where you have somebody register and you go ahead and you start sending them messages, but you have broadcasts scheduled for maybe when these recurring live events are, right? So a welcome campaign is an initial nurture campaign. It basically means, hi, this is who I am. This is who I help. Here's some stories. Here's some stuff that might help you. You might like this over here. Check out this over there. By the way, I've got an event coming up. Would you like to join it? Right? That's really what that is. And typically somebody is going to get an initial nurture campaign because they opted in for something. And usually that's going to be some kind of a lead magnet, which can be an event like this, can be a PDF, etc. But I would definitely check out the campaign part of the client funnel challenge if you want to go maybe a little bit more in depth on that initial nurture. All right, Dara Lee says, so with the date-based campaign, will the first email still be sent on the day they register for the event? That's correct, yeah. Day zero is ASAP. If they find your website at 2:30 in the morning and they sign up at 2:30 in the morning, they're getting a message at 2:30 in the morning that says, hey, you're registered. But then the next message that they get is going to be for whenever you scheduled it, right? So if the next message is supposed to be the day before the event or the week of, depending on how far out they're registering for something, they'll start receiving the messages on the prescribed date that you offered. So here's an example, right? If you are for a month, you are promoting an event. And so you've got, 3 weeks. If somebody registers, your event's at the end of the month, somebody registers on like the third of the month, you don't want to wait until the third week of the month to say, oh, hey, remember we have an event, right? So you can actually set up your date-based campaign to be delivering emails on a consistent basis up until the date that you are sending the reminder and actually inviting them, right? So it doesn't have to be just a couple days before. I've done this where I've had, almost a month's worth of like daily or every other day emails that are going out, and of course, drumming up excitement for the event. And if somebody signs up on day 3 of that campaign, they're going to get that, hey, you're in, welcome message, and then they'll get day 4. And if they sign up on day 15, they won't have gotten day 3 through 14, but they'll get day 15 and onward, as well as that day 0 that goes out right away. So you can set this up to really work for you in a really substantial way if you're wanting to keep people engaged toward something that you do once a month, or you could keep it simple like I showed today. All right. I know there was a sort of whiplash. What was that when I showed you guys this Meridot? Let me come back over to here. And this is okay. If you offer something that is the same every week or every month, like we do with AttractWell, when you sign up for AttractWell office hours, we actually provide you with a link that you can click to add all of these calls to your calendar if you want to join all of them. Right now, if your recurring workshop that you offer is something that you would like for people to join every week, then this is something that you could use. This is also super useful if you're wanting to maybe provide clients with a way to add calls for a workshop, like a series, that maybe a coaching program, put all of those calls on their calendar. I use this for that purpose as well. So just to show you this as an example, and this is totally free. I've got the link there in the checklist. I'm going to go to new here. And this is going to be, what is this? 3 ways to master your marketing. And this is going to be July 3rd at 4 p.m. And it's going to go until 5. This is where I'm going to say, join us for weekly insights into your marketing strategy. It's going to be the same, right? It's going to repeat. It's going to repeat weekly, every week on Thursdays. And I'm going to be doing this in perpetuity. So never ends. Save. There we go. I'm going to put that Zoom link, 3 ways to master your marketing. I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to pop that into the location and the URL just to be safe, because not all calendars support the URL feature. I'm going to save and close. I am going to select, export, download this as a calendar file, click OK. Do I want to have an alert or reminder? Yes, I'm going to send that out an hour before. I'm going to make sure that they are marked as busy. Just going to go ahead and make both of these busy, because if they sign up, I don't want them to have anything else on their schedule, right? And I'm going to agree and download. And then I'm going to go back into AttractWell into my files manager here. And I am going to add that file that I just downloaded. There it is. And I'm actually going to name it before I download it. This is 3 ways to master your marketing. Great. Select it, upload it. And now I can take this file, I'm going to copy this link, and I can put that onto my confirmation page. And I could add that to my day zero email. So let's go find that campaign in my day zero email. There we go. And I can just pop this right in there. So here, add this series to your calendar. And I'll say add to calendar. I will hyperlink this. And we do have an add files section right here. So if you need to find it, go to insert and manage files. It's actually right here. And I can click this. And I will change the copy on this. Add to calendar. Update, and maybe turn that into a button. Right? So I can add this to a page, I can add this to the email, and now if it is something that I want people to be able to register for on a recurring basis, they can just click that link and voila, it's on their calendar. Timmy, I love it. There's a whole lot that you can do here. Yeah, if you guys have any questions or if you would like to pop out and have a discussion about anything that we've talked about here today, maybe there's context that you want to explore, we do have just a few minutes. If there are any takers, happy to bring you out here for a couple of minutes to clarify anything for you moving forward. Generally speaking, I find it to be most useful to have either a themed, like we're going to talk about things that are in this field of topic, right? Kind of like what we do here for the AttractWell office hours, right? When you sign up for office hours, you know that we're going to be talking about things that are relevant to using AttractWell. We're going to be talking about things that are relevant to people who have expert-based businesses or information businesses, and you're going to get a reminder every week, right? So I really like this format because the registration process is evergreen. And then all I'm doing is changing what the broadcasts are on a weekly basis. And that's because it's high volume, right? We're doing this for 2 platforms every single week. Now, if I were just doing something once a month, I might consider really branding and really focusing on a very specific workshop. And maybe, like you might do with keynotes, I might choose 3 or 4 topics and rotate those on a monthly basis throughout the year. So maybe if I'm talking about hormones or I'm talking about balancing blood sugar, maybe I have 3 or 4 other topics and I'm rotating those on a monthly basis. And I can reuse those assets, right? So those campaigns, I just change the dates, right? The events, I create a new one, etc. Hey, Angeline, got your hand up. Let me bring you out to talk. Here we go. Hi, how can we help? Are you there? It looks like you have like maybe a microphone connected, but I don't see it
There we go.
moving. There
Can
you
you hear
are.
me
Hi.
now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I had my lapel mic selected. So this is pretty timely because I plan to put on a workshop in July, and it's going to be a very small paid workshop, but it's a gateway into my membership. But this particular idea is even better to do a recurring one because I had planned to do that on YouTube Live, but this gets them into my system without doing it outside, since I have the ability. So I just want to tell you what my idea is for my membership. It's called the Center for Entrepreneurial Success, and it's more of a training hub than it is coaching. And so I have one vault that I'm going to make a study hall, and that's a very low ticket um, mini courses. And that's also a gateway into the larger membership, which is more of the training. And so I'm wondering if I'm setting up too many different funnels and gateways into things. They seem to sound well, but I don't want to set up too many things that I'll lose track of.
Yeah, over creating is an unfortunate trap for the entrepreneur.
Mhm.
And it's unfortunate because we, I believe, have been given gifts to, feel bold enough to take these ideas and turn them into something. But
Mhm.
it's not always necessarily in service for you at the time that you had the idea, right?
Mhm.
So generally speaking, I would consider picking one thing and focusing on making it really successful, and
Okay.
definitely have something in your back pocket that is higher ticket, higher value that you can upsell where the opportunity is. But I would go for something that's really a sweet spot with the audience that you have access to, right? So
Okay.
if you're aware that a majority of people that you are in front of right now and have the ear of right now are maybe in earlier stages or are maybe a bit more limited on budget, then I would absolutely go as hard as you can on a low to mid-range offer to really build community and stories and proof of concept. And
Mhm.
from there, you'll find graduates who want to, move forward. And those problems, those needs reveal themselves, right? And it shows
Okay.
you, okay, now it's time to release this other thing. But
Okay.
it's just as easy to overwhelm and confuse yourself as it
Mhm.
is to overwhelm and confuse your audience with the range of things that you have available for them. So
Okay.
the smaller that list can at least appear to a given
Mhm.
audience, the better off you and they are. Because when you provide choice, you are putting yourself at a great risk that they'll take no choice. They'll take no
Mhm.
option because they're confused at, A versus B, and now they're gone, right?
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
I would consider just locking into one and giving, 6 months, of just real focus on building and developing that particular thing. And
Okay.
and where people are showing up and saying, well, I feel like I actually need more of this. You've got the proof right there that there are people ready to buy it.
Mhm. So that answers. So my strategy is I'm not opening up the larger ticket because the content that I'm creating in the smaller ticket is gonna also be available to give value to the larger ticket because they won't be available after it moves out of the study hall. So I'm sort of layering it and not offering them at the same time. And
That's
so I'm
really
giving
smart.
the call, yeah, so I'm giving the call to action in my YouTube videos of one at a time. And then once they get into the smaller mini course, that's one of the ways that I'm going to have a video letting them know what's available, but not necessarily for a membership, but for the course that they can purchase. That would be the next level of the mini course.
I
Um,
really like that. That's actually really smart. You're creating scarcity, but
yeah.
not artificially, right? Like you have this, but you have this for now. And if you would like to have this, keep this and do more with it, I've got this other offer for you,
Hmm.
right?
Okay.
And you're not having to create something entirely new. You're just basically creating a limited time and space for someone to interact with this piece of value that you've created. And if they
Hmm.
would like to retain that longer, then they can,
Hmm.
choose door number two. That's an easy, step ladder there for you to create because you don't have to come
Okay.
up with an entirely new offer. You're just, injecting value into the permanence of access to the things that
Okay.
they would be getting at a lower level.
Wonderful. Do you have time to look at my site? I've totally
We can take a quick look, yeah.
revamped it again. And so, um,
At some point you have to give yourself permission to
well,
love what you've done.
I've done now because
Okay,
I've solidified my audience, and that was what I was struggling with, and so I had
perfect.
to keep changing copy, and I've gotten it down so narrow that
Oh, this is good.
it's very specific.
Very
And
well
so
done. Oh, I love this. Oh, I love what you did with this background and this black and white. This is so good.
thank
Oh, the
you.
photos that you've chosen are so good. Oh,
I
this is,
am creative. I always thought I was a
mm,
numbers nerd, but I'm having fun with this.
oh, and the video.
Thank
Oh, I
you.
love this. Oh, this is so good.
So this is what I'm excited to show you are my hot takes that I've been posting
No.
every day. And so I decided to put them in a carousel. So they're little
Oh,
hot takes. that
Oh, and you
I
made these in
post.
Canva and you
Yeah,
can
it's
use
actually
these
a
as
YouTube.
social posts, right?
Yep, they're going
Yep.
all over my socials,
So
and they're
good.
actually YouTube thumbnails. So that same
Mm.
branding is going to be on my YouTube video thumbnails in terms of the different colors.
Oh, I'm so excited for you. This is so
I
good.
am too. So I'm
So
finally
good.
ready. I'm actually preparing my first YouTube video. And so I've been putting those hot takes in YouTube shorts and saving
Uh-huh.
them. And
Yep.
I've been building up an audience on my YouTube channel. And now I'm about to schedule the first video.
I love it. So what you could do, just as a
Mhm.
thought with this carousel moving forward, because this is so catchy, like the color, the just it's very punchy. You can
Mhm.
hyperlink this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can hyperlink these images in your carousel. And so maybe you have a blog post where you expand on this hot take where you embed the video and
You
send them
know,
to the blog post from here.
I was going to ask that question on Facebook and I didn't know how to formulate it, but I couldn't find how to get the carousel um, into the blog post, but
Oh
hyperlinking
yeah, no.
is
So I
how.
would I wouldn't put the carousel into the blog post. What I'm suggesting here is that you hyperlink each of these images in the carousel so that
Hmm.
they go to the place where you're expanding on this hot take.
Ah, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
So in this
okay.
case, like you would hyperlink this and it would go to a blog post that says, that basically expands on this. It's got this image so that we've got, the continuity and the follow through there. And maybe you've got your video where you talk about it embedded on the blog post. You could also
Okay.
just send them to the YouTube video, but the
Yes.
better option would be to send them to
Yeah.
somewhere on your website that shows
Okay.
the video.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. I just have one other question.
Okay.
I don't know the difference between the call booking and the event that you just showed because I
Mm.
went there thinking I was going to set up my book a call.
Mhm.
Is it possible to use that for book a free call without having to set up an event?
Oh yeah. So to book a call, if you want to like allow somebody to just like get on your calendar,
Yes.
then you would set up your calendar, which I believe you have done. Perfect. And then you would create a booking type.
Hmm.
So you add a booking type, and this is where you establish your availability. You put in whatever information that you need, how long the call is going to be, et cetera. And then
Hmm.
this is what you're going to link to once you have this created. So once you have this created, you save the booking type, and then
Yes.
that's where you can connect them for that book a call.
Okay. And so this is what will solve my problem with doing it in Calendly. They will
Correct.
automatically get tagged as
Mhm.
someone who has booked the call and they will go off of that welcome campaign.
That's right. Yeah. And you
Okay,
will no
perfect.
longer have to use Calendly. That's right.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ashley. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
absolutely. And my gosh, thank you for letting us see your website. That's amazing. You've
It's
done
been if
really
you
good
guys
work.
know how long I've been struggling with this, but I have to take my time. So
Hey,
thank you so
well,
much
it's
for
clearly
helping.
not the case anymore. That website is amazing, and I'm really excited, and you should be so proud of yourself. So thanks
Thank
for
you
coming
very
out.
much. Thanks. Thanks, Greg.
Oh, sorry. Greg, take your flowers. Oh, Angeline, we so appreciate you. And you're an inspiration, and the work that you've done is really beautiful. All right. Denny had a question here. I'll answer this real quick before we go. Thank you guys again so much for sticking around and being incredible people, inspiring us to do what we do. Denny said, would there ever be a time to use this or these for a recorded event where we're talking about having these monthly live workshops that you do? 100 million% yes. You can use these as a sales video in your funnel. You can chop these up and turn them into like the videos, like take parts of the videos and turn them into content for your social. You can put this recorded video behind an opt-in and offer this as a lead magnet on its own, the recording. So much you can do with this. You can put them into a vault and sell them, or put them into a vault and let people peruse them. And then obviously that vault is something that you offer for free, or at a low price point to sell the thing that this workshop is selling. Yeah, in any of these things that you do, use these as an opportunity if you're offering these for free to really position and sell your main offer. So again, thank you for being here, doing great work, and for being an inspiration to us. We'll be back here same time next week. Till then, have a great week, everybody.